It is live. It is Deep Look. It is Tuesday, March 11th. What is up, everybody? I am Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, Ultiworld Senior Editor Keith Rayner, back for another live show on Deep Look every Tuesday, noon Eastern. Keith, what's happening, man? March Madness is almost here. Are you feeling the college energy?
Well, we've got great college ultimate energy too, but there's
100%.
basketball happening. You know, I'm in the zone. You know, I'm in Connecticut, and yes, the UConn men's team may have had a tough season thus far, but obviously the women's team is going to be a big contender this year, and there's a lot of college basketball action to go around. I know you and I are both big fans of professional basketball too, so a chance to scout some of the top prospects who will be going into the NBA and WNBA next year. So yeah, of course, it's an exciting time. And you and I also, we dabble a little bit in our sports picking and maybe even putting some money on some of the picks that we make. So bracket time is always exciting too.
I might take some time to really put some effort into bets this year for the opening games. I think my UNM Lobos are probably going to make the tournament too. So that's always exciting when I get to root for them. We got a lot to get to today. We have a very special guest. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to, maybe it's already in the title, but it'll be a lot of fun. So I think what's up first? I think it's time for our trivia question of the week.
All right, Charlie, for this week's trivia question of the week, I want to take us back a little bit to look at the awards podium for the All-American lists for the year, or I'm going to go with 2019 as our college season. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds, I think, to name as many All-Americans in Division I from the year 2019 as you possibly can. And I will write down who you get and we'll see how it goes. And if you're playing along in the chat, you could basically just start spamming them up and see how many you can get. So you got a good selection of players to pick from. I'm giving you a nice wide berth here. Do you need any hints about what happened that season, or do you think you got it in your memory?
2019 it's one that stands out. Brown over UNC in the men's. This was UCSD won this year over Dartmouth with the crazy Dina game. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm locked in.
All right, let's see how you do here. Producer Lindsay, do you think you can hit him with the 60-second timer here?
We got a timer. I'm prepared for you to just count me in if that's what it takes.
Well, we won't have an official timer, so I will time you, or you can time yourself if you want, Charlie.
No, it's fine. You just give me a 10-second warning.
All right. Whenever you're ready, you can go.
Okay, go. Let's start with the easy. Dina Elimelech, Jack Verzu, Angela Zhu, Claire Trope, Mac Hecht, JR, Gooch, LSB, Liam Searles Bose. Okay. Now I got to dig deep. Who was still in college in 2019?
30 seconds left.
Ohio State, Kara Sieber and Emily Barrett. Leandro Marks. I don't know who else would have still been good. Who was good? Nick Vogt. Was that the year he did the Callahan?
That's a nice poll.
I
you got 10 seconds left.
I got. No, I just wrap me up.
Okay. I'll wrap you. All right. So Charlie came in with some of the layups really on the women's division side. Dina Elimelech, Jack Verzu, they were both first teamers. Also went with Claire Trope, another first teamer, and Kara Sieber and Emily Barrett, both from Ohio State, did make it on the second team. You missed Sadie Jezierski, who made it from Ohio
Of
State on
course.
the first team.
Of course.
And no Angela Zhu that year. That was actually Caitlin Lee made the first team from
Angela had
Dartmouth.
already graduated.
Yeah, that was the 1 year they went there without Angela Zhu. So the women's division, just to give you the ones that you missed Julia Kwasnick from UCSB, Ann Worth from UNC, Maddie Gilbert from Western Washington on the second team, Audrey Brown from UC Santa Barbara, Margot Erheim from Tufts, Kelly Iwamoto from UCSD, and Karen Earhart from Carleton.
I could have gotten Iwamoto.
I think you could have gone there with that. But I'll give you
enough time thinking.
The thing I think you're probably the most hyped about is you got Nick Vogt. Nice pull. It's a second team All-American out of Wisconsin. You also got Matt Hecht, Matt Guchahanis, Liam Strauss-Bose, John Randolph, all first teamers that year, and Leandro Marks was also on the first team. So you basically got almost the entire first team. You were missing Tanner Johnson and Michael Ing from that first team. The second teamers that you didn't get to yet, Jordan Kerr from BYU, Ian Sweeney from SLO, SRB, Solomon Roishmeyer Bailey from Brown, Dylan Lanier from Carleton, Elijah Long from UNC, and one of the very few to not make nationals and to make the All-Americans, Gabe Hernandez.
Oh, that would have been a good one to get. That was his Hopkins year. That would have been
a deep cut. Yeah, the Hopkins year, the career achievement award kind of I mean, he had a great year, don't get me wrong, but it's a bold one for Johns Hopkins All-American that year. And not bad, Charlie. I think you probably could have dug a little deeper, but you got in there for some awards. Before we move on to our special guest, I want to let folks know it's the 20th anniversary of Breakmark. And they're celebrating by doing giveaways on Instagram every Friday. Last week, they gave away some free sling bags. And we'll see what goodies they have in store for y'all this week. When you enter this week, go over to @Breakmark on Instagram and add the code WUL25. Add that this week. You'll get double the entries, courtesy of us over here at Deep Look. So that's @Breakmark on Instagram. And that's Breakmark, the official jersey provider of the Western Ultimate League.
Got it. Love it. So wait, where do I put the code? I just tag it in the Instagram post?
Yeah, when you go to enter on the Instagram post, you'll enter in some of the usual information and add to your post WL25, double your entries, twice the chances to win. And that'll be open on Friday.
Great. Our special guest is not quite ready, so we are going to talk a little Stanford Invite men's division. This was a weird one, Keith, because we had some of the best teams on the West Coast, but with the U24 training weekend, a lot of the top players were out. And so it made for some unusual topsy-turvy results. And let's take a look at the bracket and see how things shook out. It was, in the end, UC Santa Cruz taking down Western Washington 13-11 in the final. Both kind of buzzy teams this season. And hey, look, these results count just the same as if everyone was there at 100% full strength. So when the algorithm looks at this, Santa Cruz is going to get the big thumbs up. The big names, Cal Poly SLO losing without their top players, 13-10 to Santa Cruz in semis. And we also see other top seeds going down early. Cal getting knocked out pretty thoroughly by SLO in quarters, 13-8. And overall, just a curious weekend. What do you make of it, Keith?
Well, like you said, the algorithm is unmoved. There's no discount for missing top players. So a developmental weekend, I guess, in some ways you could say, for the likes of SLO and Cal playing without their top players. But Western Washington also playing without Cedar Hines. So I think you got to be pretty impressed with what they turned in, reaching the final. They went toe-to-toe with Santa Cruz in a pretty offensive game. I don't think there was I'm not sure there was a single turnover until it was like 5-5. Like the offenses were just rolling. And even most of the turnovers in this game felt like they were unforced or maybe some light pressure errors. There were a few blocks, but really it was just both teams running the offense through their top end players. Toby Warren really taking on a big role for Santa Cruz and looks good. I mean, if this team makes nationals, I think he might have a shot at making an All American slot. He had a crazy huck during that game where he like threw it from like a backwards pivot, but muscled it the length of the field to the back line. And overall, he had a great game. He was scoring a lot. Milan Bosley was scoring a lot as well. And Western Washington, it was very much the Elijah Diamond and their handler is Zach Ishikawa Zabo. Zoli Ishikawa Zabo. That's right.
Zoli Ishikawa Zabo.
Also,
that's right.
Yeah, I remember him from High School National Invite not too long ago, playing with Declan Miller and Cedar Hines there. But he and Elijah Diamond were really the driving force for them. Diamond really their D-line offense was really strong when they crossed those guys over. Diamond and Warren ended up going head to head when they started crossing over more. So they gave an impressive performance. I'm want to see more from this team. I expect them to be consistent, but it just adds to the mess that you've got in the Northwest. They're a team that could be fairly scary. So I think good results for both these teams. I thought SLO maybe could have pulled it out with the talent that they had there. And UBC, looking at the level, losing in semifinals to Western further adds credence to the depth of the Northwest. Unless you're like some folks who say about the AC that the AC is not actually good, just everybody's mid. Maybe you say that about the Northwest. I'm not going out on that limb altogether.
Well, I mean, I think the big takeaway for me this weekend is that Santa Cruz is legit. I mean, I think they wouldn't have won had SLO and Cal been at full strength. But I genuinely wonder if they're the second best team in the Southwest. I think they might be better than Cal. I think that's possible. And you look at the results this weekend, they won comfortably these games. I mean, they dominated the bad teams. Big beatdowns over UCLA, USC, Virginia Tech, and Stanford. And look, a 13-10 win over SLO is, yes, I know that SLO is not at full strength, but that's still a good result. I think the SLO coaching staff probably wants them to be winning that game, even without their U24 stars. So I think it's a very solid weekend for the Slugs, who are 0-2 against Washington, 0-1 against Oregon. Now they're 1-1 against Cal Poly. And by the way, that Cal Poly game back at Pres Day was only 13-11. So it's not like they were getting blown up, their doors blown off. And Western Washington playing without one of arguably their best player is also a really good sign. So I think it's a positive signal for those teams. Santa Cruz more or less locked up a bid, and now they just need Cal not to blow it at Easterns. Because Cal currently last in at 17th in the rankings. And of course dropped a good bit. They dropped 6 spots this week, but I think should be able, they control their own destiny, basically, at the end of the season.
And the rest of the Southwest is not particularly scary this year. I think there have been many years in which you're a little nervous going into Southwest regionals, and you don't want to take anything for granted, of course. But we haven't really seen the teams that are behind Santa Cruz and Cal look nowhere intimidating close, or like they're very threatening at regionals.
No, the next team up in the rankings is Stanford at 46th, and Santa Cruz just destroyed them. So I think, the nightmare scenario is that they only get 2 bids. Northwest still sitting with 4, and got to be feeling pretty good about it. Their 4th bid earning team is Oregon State at 12th in the rankings. So they pretty much have it locked up. And no, I think the Northwest is legit, Keith. I don't think it's I think there's some dangerous.
I think the worst case scenario
teams.
for the worst case scenario for the Southwest is not them getting 2 bids. It's them getting 3 bids, and then like the night before regionals, USAU's like, oops, we accidentally messed up the math. You only got 2 bids. That's the nightmare scenario.
It's seen it before. We'll probably see it again. Yeah. What? Any thoughts on UBC here? Decent weekend overall. 1 point losses to Western and Slow.
I think I kind of have gotten into everything from the weekend that stood out to me. Like I'm not too worried about Cal and Slow based on what they've done, and UBC still mixed bag, but I do think that's pretty much all I've got on the weekend, and I want to bring in our special guest as well because I do think he's knocking at the door, so to
All
speak.
right.
So Charlie, why don't we bring in our former D3 editor, Los Angeles Lakers superstar, Mike
Former,
Ball, to the show.
from way downtown. Mike
Oh
Let's
yeah.
Ball,
go.
rocking the Lakers jersey. Welcome to the pod, my friend. Hopefully we have the tape. Do we have the tape? I didn't confirm this beforehand.
I think I was
I'm not even
prepped.
sure
I think I was prepped beforehand that we were going to show it. So hopefully we have it.
Very good. Let's just roll the tape. For those who are not in the know, this is Mike Ball from 3 nights ago now?
On the crypto.com floor. It was a game against the Knicks. It was sold out crowd, 19,000 people. And so just even get to be down there was pretty incredible. And obviously hitting the shot and the money is going to be pretty sweet too. So it's, I'm still flying high from it. It's been pretty awesome.
I know that you're a huge Lakers fan. You and I have talked so much basketball over the years. How did this happen? How did you end up on the center logo pulling up from half court?
I wish there were like a better story for it, but it was complete pure random luck. So my wife had never been to an NBA game, let alone a Lakers game. And so around the arena is an area called LA Live, and that's where they have statues of Lakers legends and all kinds of things to go see. And so the game was at 7. We had a 5:00 dinner reservation, and we're planning to spend time before the game walking around. Well, it happened to be one of the few days where it's actually raining in LA, and it was like a pretty steady downpour. And so we wrapped up dinner at like 5:45, and there was nothing else to do really to kill time. And so we just went to the arena early. So we got to the arena like an hour before the game, and we were just getting walk around the concourse and see what there is to see, find the team shop, etc. And we're just walking around, and a game day ops intern kind of grabbed us and was like, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to participate in our promo to shoot a half court shot for $100,000. Are you interested?" And it was a pretty easy yes. So pure random luck. We asked the guy why he chose us. I had a Kobe jersey on and some Kobe shoes as well, and so he said he could tell I was obviously a big fan. And the other answer he gave was he just got a good vibe from us, which whatever the hell that means. But I'm glad he did. So.
Okay, so you were ice cold. Is that right? Or did you get some warm-ups?
No, there's no warm-up at all. So
they don't let you warm up.
They had me. Sense. So it happened at the end of the third quarter before the fourth quarter. And so, I had to do the sign up and everything before the game. And so I was just sitting in the crowd, like anxiously waiting. And they told us to meet them at guest services at the end of halftime. And they took you down to the tunnel, and you're kind of waiting back there. And there's no hoop, no nothing to be able to like shoot on, even just like to see a ball go through the net. The best they could do for me is they gave me the ball for like 2 minutes to be able to like mess with and like get a feel for it. But other than that, just ice cold after sitting in the stands for the whole game.
Do you hoop, bro? Is this like you're like comfortable out there, or is it just dumb luck here?
Yeah, no, basketball is my first love. So I played competitively my whole life through high school, and then college, played intramurals and stuff. And like I now play in a pickup run on Thursdays and Sundays. So I still play a couple times a week, and basketball is my first game. I saw someone from the Frisbee community quote tweet the video and be like, "Who says ultimate players aren't athletes?" And I was like, no, I'm a basketball player that plays ultimate. Like I've never once thought of myself as like the inverse of that. So it's Now you asked, was I comfortable out there? I definitely was not comfortable out there. Like that is a totally unique environment that I've never experienced anything like. But I'm definitely comfortable with a basketball in my hands.
It's so insane. Okay, so did they tell you how many other people have hit the shot in LA? Like
Yeah,
over the
so
last 5 years, did they give you the facts?
So I don't know about narrowing it to the last 5 years, but they've been doing this promo for 19 years, and I am the 16th person to hit the shot. So
Okay,
less than one a year. The way the promo works is it starts at $25,000, and every time someone misses, it goes up 5,000, and then they cap it at 100,000. So they hadn't had anybody hit it all year. And it was at the full prize. So whoever gets to shoot it at the next home game, it probably not going to be too happy with me, but that's their problem.
Okay, so I still have so many other questions to get to. Also, we got some special questions sent into us from Pat and Tad of Sin the Fields. We will get to those in a moment. I want you to start preparing now.
Oh boy.
Did any players come up to you and say that was sick or like dap you up or anything?
Yeah, so no players. Unfortunately, the game wasn't going super well for the Lakers when I hit the shot. They were down like 7 at the end of the third quarter, and only reason they were down 7 was because Dalton Connect had hit like a not quite from half court, but hit a pretty deep 3 right before the end of the quarter to pull it close. And so the players were pretty locked in and pretty distracted. And actually, for anybody who follows the NBA, has seen all the drama with LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith and LeBron calling Stephen A. out at that game, actually. If you look in the background of that clip of LeBron addressing Stephen A., I'm walking off the court. So that happened while I was shooting. So LeBron was pretty distracted, but the guys at the end of the bench were watching. There's a freeze frame my buddy sent me of Bronny James in the background, like watching with his jaw dropped, and a couple of the other guys. So some of them were definitely watching, but where they walked me out after the shot was along like Celebrity Row. So I high-fived Floyd Mayweather, Spike Lee, and Puka Nacua from the Rams would be like the names I think most people would know. So I definitely got to dap up some celebs afterwards. It was pretty surreal. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't believe we got a Puka Nacua name drop on this show. Incredible. That was like a 5th round pick. I just traded for him in Dynasty like 2 days ago.
Pretty flattering to Puka
awesome.
Nacua to lump him in. Pretty flattering to lump him in with Floyd Mayweather and Spike Lee. I think that's probably like a step down, but shout out to Puka.
So are you getting a 10-day or what? I mean, like the Mavs, the day from the Mavs right now, like maybe you owe them. Maybe you feel like we owe the Mavs something a little extra.
Yeah, definitely haven't gotten any offers, but I'll tell you this. The one thing I am proud of, if you watch the film, I shot it like a real shot. You see some people have to like baseball toss it or like you do some crazy thing. No, but my one rule to myself was like, I was not going to leave it short. I was going to give it a chance. So the thing that makes it tough is like, you can see it on the footage. The court is lit, but the crowd is blacked out. So like your depth perception is totally cooked when you're out there. You have no feel for it. And so I had no idea if the touch was good, but I knew I had it on a good line. So like you see me staring it down because I knew I had it on a good line, but I can't say that I was confident in the depth of it. But I was happy to get it there. That was like the big thing, was like make sure it got there.
So I'm assuming they don't hand you a briefcase full of cash. Have you gotten the money yet?
No. So they gave me a fat packet of paperwork to fill out that I've got to submit. So we just got back from vacation because I live in North Carolina. So we just got back from vacation last night. And so I filled it all out and I'm sending it out later today. So I'm curious. I don't know if it's going to be sent to me as a check or if it's going to be direct deposit or what it's going to be, but either way will be pretty cool. Everybody loves to, the joke everybody's made online that, it's less funny every time is talking about the taxes that are going to be on it. I've actually got a cousin of mine who's an accountant in Southern California, right outside of LA. And his accounting firm, he came in and told everybody his cousin hit this shot. Everybody there like ran the numbers on it, and they have like an office pool going to see who gets closest to in terms of like what my actual payout is going to be. So, we'll see. That's
incredible.
It is.
Any
This one
big
comes.
plans?
So no big plans yet. So I got married in November, and we drained our accounts a decent bit to help pay for the wedding. So primarily, it's going to be like kind of replenishing our savings a little bit, but we're going to set some aside to do something fun with. Part of us is just waiting to see how much it is first, but we've been tossing around some ideas, but the big thing is trying to save it, trying to be a little smart with it at least.
That is a good thing. You're responsible. You're supposed to blow it all on like the crazy night out in LA.
It's so boring of us. I feel so old and washed saying it, but it is what it is. It's the smart thing.
All right, here's some questions from our fine friends at In the Fields. Pat wants to know, how does it feel knowing that making this shot for 100K makes you more of a real professional athlete than anyone in the UFA?
It's tough. I feel like some of those old Roughnecks guys probably still made more than me though. I feel like there's a few of them who could still kind of dangle it over my head. But yeah, I had some people joking in the Ultiworld Discord about like, buying a team or even a whole division with the money from this. So Mike D actually texted me, owner of the Flyers, saying he hears that there's going to be a new investor in the squad. So people are knocking. We'll see.
Pat's got another one for you. Would you rather have hit that shot or made college nationals your senior year?
Oh, Jesus, Pat. Man, that answer is going to make me sound so there. I'm going to get it's funny. I've already gotten some criticism that like I looked like I handled it too well winning that much money, because like it is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. It is a lot of money, but my wife and I are pretty blessed that we're in like a good spot financially. There was no pressure where like I needed this money. You know what I mean? So like my gut reaction because of that is that like I would have rather made nationals. I don't know if Pat even realizes this, but that my High Point team that year, my last year of playing, we were 14th in the end of regular season rankings. So we were right outside of the bid cutoff because there was a few regions below us that fell outside of the top 16 or whatever. So the strength bid cutoff was 13. So we missed earning a bid for our region by one spot. And like, that definitely still like haunts me a little bit. So like, I don't even know if he realized how pointed that question was when he asked it, but I'm embarrassed.
He said to call you a sap if that was your answer. But he said if you took the money, I should call you a loser. So you were damned if you do and damned.
I was about to say that it did feel like a bit of a setup. Like it didn't feel like there was a great answer to that one, but it's a great question. I hope my wife doesn't see that answer because I know what hers would be. But
last one here from Tad. Aren't you glad you pointed to the Kobe tattoo instead of your tattoo of Pepe Le Pew smoking weed?
What's funny about that is that I didn't even think about this obviously in the moment because I was blacked out. But as soon as I go to point to the tattoo, the camera cuts away. So I like to imagine the producer was like having a meltdown of like what it could possibly have been that I was like flashing.
What's this guy about to show?
Yeah. Luckily, there's like a freeze frame, like one of the like House of Highlights or someone like cited that I like flashed the tattoo afterwards. But I like to imagine like the producer truck was like freaking out as soon as I pulled up the sleeve and like tried to point to it. So
did like thousands of people come out of the woodwork and text you or email you or something, like people you haven't talked to in 10 years kind of thing?
I couldn't take my phone off Do Not Disturb on Friday because anybody who has ever crossed paths with me was reaching out. And like, I felt bad because like I had immediate family trying to call me and like it would send them straight to voicemail. And so they were texting me like, wow, already like too big time to talk to us kind of thing. And I was like, you don't understand. Like everybody and their brother is reaching out to me right now. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. I think I did a couple of different interviews with ESPN LA with like their radio station. TMZ did an interview with me, which was wild. And of course they had, a screwed up headline from it or whatever, but that's TMZ's going to do what TMZ does. But, it was it was wild. It was wild. It was a crazy day. I felt bad for my wife in a sense, cause it kind of ruined our vacation. Like our trip ended up becoming all about this instead of like all the things that we had planned to do. But I think she's okay with it.
Here's fan. My wedding, triple exclamation point. After 100K shot, TMZ.
They made it sound like
Should
we
be
were in
known.
debt. I tried to be very clear that like we're not in debt. Like we're just like replenishing our savings. Like they made it sound like I was like, you know, getting taken to the cleaners by my bank if I didn't hit this shot or something. But whatever.
Well, we'll be sure to hit a nice clickbaity headline on this this episode for you too.
If you can top theirs, then respect. I'll tip my cap and keep it moving if you can top it.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw my tax number out there. Post tax, say that you get 68,500.
I hope you're right. My cousin was guessing 64, so I would love for you to be correct on this one. So we'll see.
Awesome, Mike. Congrats again. It's a very awesome thing. You're going to be able to show everyone in your life the clip for the rest of your life. It's a cool 15 minutes of fame.
It really is. And it's one of those things. I watch every Lakers game over here on the East Coast on NBA League Pass, and the NBA League Pass keeps the arena feed up during commercial breaks. And so I'd actually watched people do this promo for years and talked a big game about getting the chance to do it. And it's pretty cool that I got that opportunity. I'm incredibly lucky. It's not lost on me how lucky I am. So
the biggest thing is just not embarrassing yourself by like total air ball, total shank. Like there's so many ways for it to be horrible.
Well, yeah, and I was like wiping the bottom of my shoes and shit, like making sure I didn't like accidentally like, you know, slip on the run up or something. Like I definitely had those thoughts. There were a lot of like scenarios playing out in my head of like how badly that could have gone. So very, very glad it didn't go that way.
All right. Congrats once again, and enjoy the money. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, fellas. See ya.
Mike Ball with us here on Deep Look. I think it's break time. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, got a little bit of chatter about the Western Ultimate League and a little interesting nugget about World Games rostering. We'll be back.
White with a big backhand down the field for Stanford, floating out into the space. Big bit in the end zone, and what a grab.
You were mine, and I was yours.
Over to Ma.
We were fine.
Unleashes the backhand.
Behind closed doors.
And it's a perfect throw.
Space and time change it all. And now we find these vacant halls where those pictures used to be. Now
You play out Jesse Shocker though.
Yes. And every time I walk
field
across,
drops into Olivia Bartra.
it's a reminder of a past. Like I don't give a damn about it.
Great block by Naomi Morsilic.
But you know that's not true.
You can bet Donaldson's gonna jack that one.
And I wish that you could change your mind.
Oh,
Charlie,
hey,
you're muted.
what's up? Should I unmute the mic? That'd be a good idea. Welcome back to Deep Look. It's time to get ready for Disc Northwest's 35th annual Sunbreak tournament this July 4th weekend. This year, they're bringing the action to Bellingham, Washington, known for its beautiful fields and incredible views. Camp right at the field site so you can soak up the summer vibes all day and all night. The Saturday night party is an ultimate tradition like no other, with food trucks, music, dancing, and more. The theme this year is Family Game Night. Now, Keith, you weren't here last week. I already gave my thoughts on a Family Game Night theme. What do you got?
You and Edward took like the top 1 and 2 things. Like to me, Monopoly is the signature Family Game Night game. And you grabbed that. Ticket to Ride is my family's favorite game night game. And Edward grabbed that. So I'm left grasping for other games. Now, you and I enjoy board games a lot, but I'm trying to think like family entertainment. And another game that I love for Family Game Night is Taboo. It's not a board game, but it is a family game night game. I haven't quite. I need the chat's help. If anybody in the chat can come up with a good taboo pun themed name, like ultimate name, let me know what you come up with, because I struggled with it to come up with a good team name.
I'm less interested in the name. I'm more interested in the mechanics of what it's going to be.
Well, fortunately,
like,
you can quick play
with
taboo.
a word on it.
Yes, you could do that. You could do the word, or the words you can't say, and then the word that you're trying to guess is on the back.
Well, I think there's just no words you can't say. And then if the opponent, if either player says them, then they have to like stop during the game and like do a push up or something. I don't know. Like,
I was thinking once a game, like each team could pull the taboo card, and if they get it right, like they win a call, or they receive the pull or something.
I like that.
So you could just like play taboo mid game once a game to gain some advantage. I love taboo. I think it's so much fun. So it'd be a great game to play with friends.
I have a semantics question, because you said taboo is not a board game, which I get that, right? It doesn't have a board, but isn't any game that you play like at a table like that a board game?
Well, there's a separate word for that category of games, right? Tabletop games, which I guess wouldn't really require a board, right? Any game you play on top of a table, but you don't really need a table for taboo, right? You could play in a car, right? If you needed to.
I feel like I would call all those things board games, even if I didn't have a board involved.
I don't think people would hold you for that.
Yeah,
I think you'd be okay there.
Anyway, you can play whatever game you want in the game nights in the board game tent, with competition ranging from elite club all the way down to league level and reunion teams. Celebrate the beauty of the ultimate community with people connected by their passion for the game. Sign up now at discnw.org. That's discnorthwest.org. The bid window is open now, and spots are limited. Don't miss one of the world's most celebrated tournaments. All righty. Hey, how about this, Keith? Spotted over the last weekend, I think, maybe sometime last week, there were some pictures of the Ultiworld Discord of the Germany World Games tryout / practice process, whatever. And someone was like, "Is that Rafi Hayes?" And it indeed was. Rafi was there and is potentially going to play for Team Germany, presumably if he doesn't make Team USA. To be fair, maybe he would rather play for Team Germany. Hard to say what the situation is, but Rafi Hayes to Germany would be a massive win for them. And I wonder if the USA coaching staff has to be thinking, we got to take him because we can't have him playing for Germany.
That, my friend, is what you call leverage, right? And you got to take advantage of it when you've got it. We've talked so much about people like European players coming to the US to compete, but guess what? They could do it the other way around. I mean, we're seeing other countries tap into the US well. Look at Team Canada and who's on their rosters for U24s and potentially for the World Games. So there was talk of, could some folks from the US play for France this coming cycle? So we're seeing people tap into that, and this would be a big coup for Germany. You have them 6th in your power rankings. If Rafi Hayes was on Germany, how high are you putting them in your power rankings?
I mean, the thing is, with a 14-person roster, a player of that caliber making the team actually makes a pretty big difference, because not only does it, of course, upgrade their offense, but it drops everybody else down a slot and just like makes everything easier, right? Well, the problem Germany had last cycle is that they couldn't score breaks. They didn't have enough depth to. They were getting their defense was good. They got more turns than most of the top 4 teams, but they couldn't put them in. So I think that having Rafi, both for crossover points, but also just to like let another strong cutter or offensive player slot into the D line, it's a pretty big deal. I think they would be a medalist favorite for me at that point. I think I'd probably put them ahead of Australia behind Colombia. So I go US, Colombia, Germany in my power rankings, but maybe they'd even be number 2.
That said, we've all here at Deep Look have basically locked Rafi Hayes into making Team USA. Not that there is literally any lock. I think it is possible for anybody to not make the team, any given individual player. But he's held in as high regard as anybody. So I feel like he's got a pretty good shot here at Team USA.
I mean, he almost made the team last cycle. He's coming off a tremendous club season. I don't know how you wouldn't want to have him on the team, especially given this circumstance. I mean, it's like it's playing his cards right. That's for sure.
Now he's got the inside scouting on Germany.
That's true. That's true. A little risk both ways. All right, let's talk about the Western Ultimate League. We're just 2 weeks away from the start of the season, and getting ready to go. And Keith has done the hard work of collating all the rosters, getting everything together, and we're going to be able to break it down a little bit and take a look at what is definitely the league with the most parity among our semi-pro leagues. You look at PUL, there's definitely some haves and have-nots, and we see the bottom finishing teams in the Western Ultimate League winning games every year and like playing tight with good teams. So let's talk about some of the key changes this offseason, Keith, and where would you start? Who do you think will come in as the betting favorite?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, like you mentioned, the parity in the league has made it fairly unpredictable. Colorado is coming off a title year and returns a lot of the core players. I think they're going to be an easy bet to be one of the top teams in the league. But I remain just drawn to the big name star power and the continuity that the Super Bloom have over in San Diego. I think those would be your 2 title favorites. Maybe Colorado is slightly behind San Diego since championship weekend won't be at altitude this year. And I feel like a lot of people felt like that gave Colorado an edge that they paid off. But it's tough. I don't think you're going to have a big favorite in any regards across this league based on what we've seen. The expectations for Seattle haven't always been met. People may have been down on Colorado last year or the Bay coming into the season, and they obviously turned out and played really well. And there's also a lot of changeover for some of these rosters. I think that lends to a very unpredictable environment.
So let's go through some of the key returners, additions, losses. Why don't we begin with the Bay? This is a really interesting team. I find that the tumultuous changes to these rosters difficult to then parse and make predictions about, because you're seeing really good players leaving and really good players joining. It feels like every single year. I feels like the turnover level tends to be really high in the Western Ultimate League, which definitely lends to the unpredictability of things.
I agree, and I honestly wish there was a little more continuity just to make it a little easier to follow. The kind of centerpieces of teams and a little more continuity. But fortunately, the league keeps getting talent, so they aren't running at a deficit in any way. And the Bay Area maybe has the biggest signing of the entire offseason with Robin Fennig coming to join the team along with Macy Volbrecht, Olivia Goss. But they do lose Kanari Yamanishi and Margot Donahue, who was all league last year. Sharon Lynn, who didn't really play a ton, but obviously brings a ton of talent. Shayla Harris basically didn't play much at all last year. But those are players who were on last year's roster who aren't coming back. Key for them, though, they have Han Chen, Heist back, coming off another all-league campaign, a number of other key contributors from last year's team. And when you add, Fennig to that mix, I think this is going to continue to be a really talented team. They haven't always been even in their production. I think that has something to do with the attendance. So it may come down to how often is Liv Goss going to be there? How often is Sarah Carnahan going to be there? She played really well last year. Lily Stepanidis, another key contributor. Are they going to be around for a lot of the games, or that could have an impact? But the talent is there for this to be a championship contender. That's very clear to me.
Yeah, I think we've seen in the past that the Bay hasn't always like sent a lot of their players to away games and stuff like that. So that feels like a little bit more of a story of 2 or 3 years ago, though. I think this team, if Robin's really playing a lot, this team could win the title, 100%. Okay, let's go to Colorado. Bringing back some of the big stars like Abby Thorpe, who's just been so awesome for this team last couple seasons. Jade McLaughlin is back. Ari Nelson is back. They're adding Kennedy McCarthy, Megan Maxfield, Rena Kawabata. But they also lose some key players like Bailey Shigley and Aubrey Dietrich, Kristen Reed, Blade Sevier. On the whole, I feel like they've gotten slightly better. But I guess I would expect a pretty similar talent level top to bottom in 2025.
I agree with your last assessment. I do think that they're probably going to be pretty similar from a talent level standpoint. They do lose some key players. They bring in a roughly a similar talented group. So I think maybe where they get some of the bonus is just further development of their younger players and further chemistry developed on the team. Megan Maxfield is proven. Kennedy McCarthy is a player who's going to be an impact player from day one. Vet like Rena Kawabata is going to be somebody who can add some of that experience level to the team. Abby Gillick, so also talented young player. But I think where you're really going to see some of the dividends paid is, watching Sarah Pesch and Rory Veldman and Jade McLaughlin and Ari Nelson, Abby Thorpe continue to build more of that chemistry and have this team be successful. I think they're going to be pretty confident after last year as well. That's going to help when you're coming off of a year in which, this was a team that's kind of finding their footing in the league. And now they've got to feel like it's firmly beneath them. So another team that I think is definitely a contender. Although with a small league and based on the parity we've seen, it's like, who do you even write off? It's hard to find teams that you feel like don't have a shot.
It's true. Where do you want to go next, Keith?
Well, why don't we go to the new team, Charlie? Why don't we go over to Oregon, the new ad for the league this year? Because you're always wondering about who's going to sign up when it comes time to be a part of the team. And Oregon's a little bit different than your average team because we've seen teams participate in the league from the area. That maybe gave us some hint. And you do see a decent chunk of a Portland Schwa core here from this team with the likes of Julia Sherwood and Jelly Boyden, Merle Hammond. They got JJ Gallion, who I think will probably be one of the key players for this team. There are some big names from Schwa that are missing from this roster. But I think this team looks like they will be competitive at least. I wouldn't put them out as a favorite to start. But I do think there's plenty of talent here to make sure that they're able to run with the other teams in the league. And based on what we've seen, that probably means they can steal some wins too.
I like them to get a home win, 1 or 2. But I don't think they're going to get any road wins. Too tough. But I'll be curious to see what they bring to the table. Let's go to San Diego. San Diego's bringing back some of their biggest names. Dina Elamelek, Kayla Helton, Kelly Iwamoto, Kristen Pajunas. They're bringing in Tori Gray and Caitlin Weaver this season. They do lose a couple of key players, Ava Hanna, Alex Diaz. But once again, I really like this roster. I feel like every year I think the Super Bloom are going to win. And they don't seem to do it all that often. But once again, I look at this roster, I'm like, yeah, they can win.
I'm worried about the same thing. Every year I look at this roster and I'm like, all right, they got it this year, and then no, empty-handed. So like, how many times can I fall for this? But I look at this roster and again, I'm like, look, they're bringing back pretty much all their key stars. They have some of the biggest names in the league. They've been productive year in and year out. They're having great ads. I think the general fan maybe doesn't know how good Caitlin Weaver is. Caitlin Weaver is like that. But Kelly Iwamoto's back, Abby Schultz, Dina Elamelek. This team is again going to be really strong. I think the fact that we see so much continuity from year to year with Pajunas and Helton, Deanna Abrams, Rebecca Ellis, Avery Jones, all these players coming back makes me think that they have a high level buy-in, means that they can travel well. It's hard for me not to think about them being the best team in the league on paper. Max Charles says roster announcement undefeated. I mean, this is This is a unique roster announcement. I appreciate that somebody had the forethought to put the Super Blue signature line on there, but they really went for it with the design team here.
The Notes app apology is a nice vibe. Sometimes, like, let's be honest, this is very readable. If you're just looking for, like, I want the information, people are getting too crazy with stuff. I just want to see the names on the roster. This is decent. It really is. All right. How about Utah? Utah, always an interesting team. They're bringing back Paige Kircher, Lily Terpstra, Abby Davis. They're adding Ava Hayes, Audrey Selfridge, really great young player. Corey Bigham is coming back to the team. But some big losses. Stacey Gaskell is gone. Kendra Miller is gone. And Brooke Stanislawski. Like, it's feels to me like they lose more than they gain this season, but they have a lot of continuity, more than most teams. And I like the chemistry aspect of what they can bring to the table. I just don't know if it's going to be enough, right? They came up 8 goals short of Colorado last year in the final. But, them making another finals appearance doesn't feel out of the question.
It does feel like this team got a lot younger this year. They're bringing in a lot of players who are high school, roughly age, early college age, with Maddie Seedall and Audrey Selfridge, Ava Hayes. Exciting young players. And, we've seen what they've done with players like that with Lily Terpstra and Abby Davis just coming off an all-league selection last year. How much better is she going to get coming into this year? You still got the veterans steering the ship in Paige Kircher and Kat Songer. I think the culture of this team often helps them. You said the chemistry. I think it's both. It's both that helps this team feel like they overperform what might be their talent level. But it's going to be tough. Losing that trio that you mentioned, Miller, Gaskill, and Stanislawski, is really going to challenge this team to ask these young players to step into bigger roles, to ask for development down the roster. But after what we saw from them last year, is it possible for this team to add another run to continue to build on what they've got? Yeah, I think it's possible, but I don't think I can bet on it.
All right, Keith, take us through Arizona. This is probably my
Arizona,
favorite branded team, by the way, in Pro Ultimate. They got the snake thing. They go to the herpetology, crew. I really like it.
That Charlie bringing up that Southwesterner, that swag for you. This is a team that lost some key players from last year and doesn't have a lot of big name additions, but they do have a lot of continuity. They return all 3 of their all league players from last year: Chip Chang, LP Aragon, and Paige Applegate, all handlers. This is going to be one of the strongest backfields in the league, and they're going to have Cody Lippincott and Kez Gessel to work with downfield. Losing Maggie O'Connor, Nora Landry, Megan Maxfield, those are key losses for this team. I don't know how they're going to necessarily replace that production, but this is a team that, like Utah, has a lot of continuity and chemistry. Players like Cynthia Thomas and Helen Eifert, Lindsay Doyle have been around for a while. They're going to be familiar with the league. They're going to be familiar with each other. And I think that could lead this team to overperforming, but it was a tough year last year, and losing some key talent is going to impact them. I think I find this team really difficult to predict what we're going to get from them.
They don't have the depth, Keith. I like their top 7, but they just down the roster. They don't have enough to really stay competitive in games. People are going to get too tired. I think it's cool that Arizona has put together this team, and like, they will get a shock win. I'll tell you that right now. They always seem to get a shock win, but I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs. Last team to take a look at is Seattle. This is the number 1 turnover roster in like all of professional sports. Every year, insane.
Poster child.
It's crazy. Who's back? Well, Cheryl Sue's back. Sadie Jezierski's back. Alexa Kirkland, Ikki Elmy. Solid players who, some of which who have played for the team for multiple seasons. So there is a little bit of a core there. A lot of returning players this year as well. Jamie Erickson, Hannah Kawhi, Linnea Sue, Lexi Garrity, but they also lose a ton of players, including one of their all-stars, Sam Rodenberg. Caitlin Rowling is gone. Steph Lim is done. Kate Lanier, Carly Campana. So, I don't know. I feel like this is another team where you look at the roster and you're like, oh yeah, they got. Look how many people are on this roster. Like, there's no reason that they can't win the league. And obviously they have won the league in the past. They're the back-to-back champions in 22 and 23. We thought they were going to do really well last year as well. At least I did. And they didn't. So I don't know. You tell me, Keith.
Last year definitely put some fear into you for backing them, and the turnover is getting stranger because you do have these players kind of coming in and out. Like, does that mean that they'll have some sense of continuity, bringing back players who were on the team 2 years ago, who play together in the club scene there? Is that going to help, or will it feel like the team is very different this year with losing Rodenberg and Steph Lim, and their cutting core really from last year was chopped up. I mean, last year I think they lost 3 of their 4 leaders in receiving yards from last year with Campana and Bridget Whipfler and Sam Rodenberg, and then they also lose Kate Lanier, who was like a key offensive player for them too. So, like, can they find the right recipe going into this year? Like, the talent is obviously there with the likes of Jezierski and Cheryl Sue and Linnea Sue. Charlie Heidi's back for another round. Julia Hasbrook, she's going to be an entry addition. How is she going to fit in? I think that there's a lot of talent on this team, but I still wonder about what's going on behind the scenes that leads to so many players coming in and out each year. That worries me. It feels like last year one of their problems is they didn't travel super well. I feel like I'm hesitant about this team going into this year after what we saw last season, despite some of the big names on the roster.
I completely understand. All right. Do you want to pick your, I'm assuming they're doing the same playoff structures last year. So 2 teams from each division.
Well, no divisions this year. So I think it's just top 4
because they have 7
teams. Now. Yeah. Now they're up to 7. So I think it's just top 4 teams are making it. And I'm sure if it's anything like last year, stuff's going to come down to like the last weekend. There's going to be a lot of big games here. I can see point diff coming into play with a 7-team pool and you're just picking the top 4. We could get to head-to-heads and point diff tiebreakers for sure.
Seems more likely than not, perhaps. Before we pick our semis, our playoff teams, and our champion, let's pick our favorite roster release. I'm going Notes app, Keith. Nothing else is really doing it.
Oh my gosh.
I am.
You're not going with your Sidewinders?
No, I don't actually like that one that much. That's the next. The genuinely the best one is the Wild, but the Notes app is my favorite.
Oh, the Wild. I'm not a fan. I find it a little hard to read. The text is too small or not a firm enough font on that background.
Well, what are you going with?
I would take the Falcons if I had to, or the Arizona. I think I'd take Arizona maybe.
Falcons. That might be the worst one.
They're not exciting, but they are legible and have a little bit of design cred. Notes app. You can do a little better. We can do a little more than Notes app. I can't believe that
it's a counter trend to all of the
I get it.
Crazy roster releases now.
Arizona's
is close to good. I want a little bit of color in it somewhere. Like, I want a little snake, or like there needs to be something in the bottom 2/3 where it's just all white.
Agreed.
And so it kind of loses it for me there. The Wilds is nice.
I understand.
Yes, they could have bolded the font, in the bottom, I guess. Sure. This is the important stuff. All right. Who are your semis teams?
Okay. Well, I know I'm going to pick Colorado, San Diego, and the Bay. I know I'm going to pick those 3. So who am I picking out of Seattle, Oregon, Utah, and Arizona?
I have my answer because I'm with you on this other 3.
Are you picking this? So we're agreed on the other 3.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Who's your fourth?
Those teams clearly have the strongest rosters.
Who's your 4th then?
Wild.
Okay, he's going Utah. Give me Oh, give me Seattle bounce back. Give me Seattle bounce back.
Wow. Wow. After you just got done taking them to the woodshed, you then picked them. What are you doing?
They say Jezerski's is a beast, you know?
I understand that. Or watch it'll be Oregon. They're pretty good. We'll see.
I mean, everybody's in it. You're over half the teams. Over half the teams are making the playoffs, and the rosters, nobody stinks. You know, we end up with another circle of suck? Very much possible.
Absolutely. I'm going Super Bloom Falcons final, and this is the year that Super Bloom gets it done.
Damn it! I really want to pick them, but we can't both pick them, right? I mean, I gotta pick them. I'm taking the Super Bloom. I actually think I'm in lockstep here. I think I got Super Bloom over Falcons.
Okay. Wow. All right.
I don't like.
We're
I don't
definitely
like
gonna
that
be
it's the
wrong.
same.
I don't either.
We were locking it in that we are going to be wrong.
Guaranteed wrong. All right. Well, the season gets started very soon. Head over to westernultimateleague.com to find all the links to streaming and whatnot. And what's the opening weekend? Let's look. They always do a nice job with their opening weekend. We've got Alpenglow at Wild on the 22nd, and we've got Arizona at San Diego. I like the home teams.
Good
in
tester.
both. Yeah, it is.
That Colorado game is definitely very intriguing.
Should be a fun one to watch. Again, that starts March 22nd. It is time for our mailbag question of the week. Comes from Amerk0505 in the Discord. Keith, what do we got this week?
I'm actually going to cut in front of Amerk or Amir K, whatever that is. I'm going to cut in front of him. I have a quick one for you. I can't believe this didn't come up earlier, but since we've been talking design,
okay,
a lot of chatter in the Discord about the Washington horizontal striped jerseys. Did you catch those? The
Westerns jerseys. People saying they look like prisoners.
Old school prison jerseys. Like, what did you think of those?
I'm not the guy to ask about this kind of stuff. I feel like they are unique.
I hate them. I love that they exist. I'm glad somebody has them. Like I appreciate anybody going out on a limb, taking a chance. I hate the way they look. I will say big ups to them for boxing out the numbers on the back. A lot of lazy teams would just slap some numbers on, be like, this is good enough. But they made them nice and legible by putting a box around the numbers. It is a little awkward aesthetically, but it's helpful information wise. So I appreciate that.
If you have good numbers, I probably like your jerseys.
Right. Okay.
Being honest.
Our mailbag question of the week from Amir K. What does the World Games team look like this cycle if you only take players from the mixed division?
Well, we were discussing this a little bit in the Ultiworld Discord, which if you're an Ultiworld subscriber at any level, you can join, and we highly encourage it. It's a great place to talk Ultimate. And I pulled up the 2024 all club teams. So let me give you those because I think that's basically your starting point. Now, I don't think you just straight up make the all club teams the teams, but or the team, I should say. But a lot of these players would probably be on the final World Games roster. So here is your all club selections. I'll read the MMP and then the WMP. Aaron Bartlett, Lucas Ambrose, Nathan Champeau, Tanner Johnson-Go, Caleb Denacor, Khalif El Salam, Travis Dunn. And then you've got Erica Bacon, Jade McLaughlin, Robin Fennig, Yuga Shao, Sarah Nitz, Sam Rodenberg, and Liv Player. So what I said in the Discord, Keith, is that I think this team could win, right? That team straight up, right? Like say that's your 14. That team could win, but would not be the favorite and would probably be underdogs to Colombia Germany if they have Rafi and possibly one other team, like maybe France. But I think they could win. Like, I still think there's enough talent there to be very competitive. What do you think?
Oh, I think there's enough talent out there, but I think I power rank them like third or fourth,
Yeah.
just on that group. And
Yeah.
I think you'd make some changes. Like I think you're going to get Sarah
Gotta
Maxtroff
take Max.
into this group,
Yep.
right? Based on
100%.
you got to find a way to make that happen. I don't know where like what changes exactly. Like I haven't gone all the way down the list. But I do think you want to get Mex in there. You know, maybe you want a Zeppelin raw egg, or maybe you're looking for someone like a Cheryl Sue or Abby Chang to get into there. Bivon, Axel Agami Contreras, maybe. Jolie Krebs, maybe. So I think there's some players. Oh, Lindsay McKenna, yes, great call out.
I mean, I think any of the mixed players that are at the second tryout would be like basically auto includes, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yes. I mean, I do think that you're right. I think this team could win, but I wouldn't peg them as favorites to do that.
Yeah. I mean, what? 2 mixed players made the team last cycle? And I say mixed players, I mean people that were currently playing in the mixed division at that time. And that was Mex and Khalif. And if I had to bet, I would expect it to be probably 2 or fewer again this time. And, you know, that just is what it is. Like, there are more better players playing in the single gender divisions. It's been this way forever. Literally forever. Mix has become better over time, but, you know, there's a reason that you're not picking all mixed players to make the U.S. national team.
Schaff is another name we left off the list. Speaking of World Games tryout invites,
probably would make it, right?
Yeah, I think you might have to make space for Schaff too. So,
I mean, some
we would probably end up with like 2/3 or half of this all club team, and then I think you'd swap out the other half.
But I mean, there's some, you know, Shampoo, he didn't try out, right? For
he I think declined to try.
We were talking to him about that when we had him on the pod. But like, he's somebody that might have straight up made the team. I mean, I think he's a truly elite defender and like the perfect kind of player to make a World Games team. You know, Fennig, obviously. Tanner Johnson-Go is a tremendous offensive talent. You know, McLaughlin would fit right in on an O-line.
Yeah, but you don't. I think you really need two-way players, and so I wonder if some of these players, maybe you feel like they aren't going to bring enough both ways to get you what you need. I mean, I think that what you're asking for the World Games team is a little bit different than your average team. And if they were just making a WC team, then yeah, locks. But I do think there's a little bit of a different need set.
Who are you shading right now?
Who,
name names. Who you think's not good enough defender from this list?
I mean, it's not even specifically defense. It's just I feel like you want a lot of really well-rounded, experienced players to be in that spot. Like, is Tanner Johnson-Go going to bring the level of defense that you want from your big? What is Jay McLaughlin going to bring that level of defense? I mean, she's primarily operated as a goal scorer downfield, which of course you need at the World Games. But is her defensive chops going to be there? Is someone like Sarah Nitz, who's has a clear strong side of their game? Is that going to give you the kind of well-rounded player that you needed? So I think that I would be asking some questions about how to fill out this roster a little bit and just taking the best club players from this past season.
Very, very fair. All right. That is going to do it for this week's show. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Did you know Ultiworld now has the most subscribers of any Ultimate YouTube channel? So if you're not already on board, you got to get on board right now. We're trying to hit 200K in the next couple of months. So jump on, subscribe, tune in every week live, noon Eastern on Tuesdays. For Keith Rayner, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long. We'll see you in the Discord. Live subscriber bonus out the back. coming right up here in just a couple minutes. We'll see you there. Talk to you next week.
Mike. Ball.
Keith's janky mic.